What's going on, everybody? Hey, happy Tuesday. Man, June 16th, we are in the middle of June. Thank you so much for joining me on a new chat, a new episode, if you will, of In Conversation. Today, I have an awesome guest. She is just a boss woman, amazing energy. She has been named on the Route 100. She is the founder of the On Purpose movement and has clients such as Google, Essence, Black Enterprise, the New York Times. She's a new mommy, and she's just an amazing woman. So I'm super excited to introduce Jovian, who will be joining us soon. We're going to be chatting about a few things, but the main thing is the International Day of Purpose, which she is the founder of, and that is coming up on this Saturday, June 20th. So definitely want to get into that. Let me see if she is here yet, and I will bring her in. Okay, not quite yet, but hey, welcome. Hey, Dree, thank you for joining. Appreciate ya. Great to see you. Hopefully everyone's having a great day so far, a great week so far. It's a lot going on. But if you're like me, you're just trying to take it one day at a time. And to be honest, if you can keep yourself, together to just get up and get out of bed, I think that you are doing plenty. Hey, Dree, how are you? And, it's just a lot happening these days. But what I really appreciate is just being able to stay positive. I have those days where I wish I could do something. I have this long list of to-dos that I'm going to do, and, it doesn't happen. So in those times, you just kind of say, if you do one thing that day, then great job for you. Great job for doing one thing. Hey, guys, thank you so much for joining. Super excited to see you all. Welcome to In Conversation. Jovian will be joining me shortly. So as I was saying, she's just an amazing woman. We met a few years ago, but really just love Jovian's positivity. She's an awesome woman. I think she's here now, so let me go ahead and tap her in. Let's see. Add. And she's coming. Hey, Jovian.
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
Ooh, Nick, look at you, girl. I'm doing well. I love this pink on you.
Thank you.
Which is crazy for us to say.
Yeah. Fine.
Yeah. How's it going?
It's going, it's going. Made it through another day. So
I
blessed.
hear that. I hear that. I'm doing well. I am out at home. Well, not my home. I'm at my brother's home, matter of fact. But I'm here in California now, and we're appreciating the weather. Like, thank goodness. I would say now more than ever, really appreciate the privilege of being able to go outside and to get some reprieve,
Yep.
and to be inspired by nature and just remembering God is in all things. So,
Oh,
yes.
that's I experienced that here in Harlem. Just like I go for walks like Central
Hmm.
Park, Morningside. I find
Yep.
myself doing a lot of photography, and I'm just like, to your point, just like seeing that God is in so much and in everything. And it's like
Yep.
blessing. I went for a walk a little before this, and I'm like, I needed this, just like a change of space, not just in my.
Hmm.
Hey, Gia,
Yep.
joining.
Yes. Hi, Gia. Hi,
Uh,
hi.
so hold on one second. Let me go ahead and let people know.
Oh yeah, pin it, girl. Pin it, pin it.
Yes,
People be forgetting the pin and then coming into the conversation like 20 minutes later, like, wait, what's happening right now? So I appreciate taking time to pin. It's critical.
it never really wants to work for me ever. I
Ah,
stay like,
you
okay,
hold it down.
yeah, I'm holding it, and then somebody comes in, and then it's like, do 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 do.
Take
I'll
your
do
time.
comment. Whew, got it. All right. So, yes, I have the amazing Josie in here. Um, so want to talk to you a little about just generally what you've been up to. 2020 has been a lot in these 6 months, especially for you.
My goodness, has it 2020 has been a wild ride.
Yeah,
I've seen so many different things. People have said like 2020 feels like 6 years. 2020 feels like a lifetime already. I will
right.
say for me, I feel really blessed, and I'm grateful that this year has kicked off in a really the most significant way for me in that I transitioned into motherhood in January, and so yeah, it's crazy. So now being the mother of a beautiful baby girl, my husband and I just find ourselves consistently in awe of what it looks like to learn about life again through the eyes of a newborn, and
Yeah,
just really in awe of the opportunity to parent. Just don't take it for granted every day. So I'm grateful that in the midst of what has absolutely been a firestorm, specifically someone who identifies as being Black and a woman, I still find great joy in my daughter now. So that's been good. Yeah.
that's, I'm super excited for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Eternity pics and everything. I was like, I can't wait. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been really good.
Amazing, amazing. So I want to talk a little bit just about, before we get into the latest project, kind of
Yes.
what your journey has been, finding your
Hmm.
purpose and helping other people to find theirs. Yeah, let's just talk a little bit about kind of how you got to where you are.
Yes, 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 yes. Well, hi, friends. I see a lot of some wonderful people joining. Alicia, I see you. Hey, Jess, I see you. I know there's also a delay. So, anyone I didn't see already, what's up, fam? My journey has been undergirded with this one consistent truth that I think has gotten more and more clear for me as I've gone along. And that is that the most important thing for me to do in my life is honor what I feel like is the clarity and call on my life. And that relates to the way I understand purpose. So, at the core, I know my purpose is to encourage other people and their spirit, to be their best, to see them as their best, to acknowledge them in their struggle, and to truly just to encourage the human spirit. That is what I'm here for. I bet y'all can hear my earrings on this headphone over here, so I'm gonna take it off. But um, but yeah, so that's been like a very central part of who I am and how I show up in the world ever since I was a little girl. And I've told this story many a time when I've been on stage, but I'll never forget being in fifth grade, and there was this kid in my class, and Junior Butcher, who was a white kid who grew up in a really low income area of our town, and for lots of different reasons. I mean, he was overweight and spoke kind of funny, if you will. He was picked on incessantly. And I'll never forget all of a sudden recognizing in my spirit, at like 9 years old, 10, that wasn't right. I needed to do something. I was going to use all my little social cachet to help people to stop picking on Junior. And so talk to people and all of a sudden, rallied the class around being kinder to Junior. And I didn't talk to my parents about it. I didn't talk to my brothers about it. No one else. It was just something I knew my spirit was placed upon me to do at that age. And I remember that story, and I remember my teacher and Junior's conversation with me afterwards. And that was what I would call and offer to a lot of people when they think about purpose as a breadcrumb experience for me. So one of those moments that I can go back to and like pick up, examine, and eat, and just be reminded of who I really am. And I think we all have to get those breadcrumbs to help us along our way. So, I take that Junior experience for what it is, but in my career, I've done a number of different things. But at the core, whatever team I've ever been on, whatever work I've ever done, I've tried to encourage the people that I work around. So I have a lot of experience in the human capital space, which is primarily my focus now. And that's looked like in the past, managing big teams that are focused on, expansive goals for, recruitment work. It's looked like managing teams that were thinking about scholarship efforts. Um, it's been an executive coach, which I do now, and also consulting work with helping organizations try to tackle some of their biggest problems as it relates to the biggest and most important part of any organization, and that's the people. So how do you recruit and hire the right people? How are you ensuring that your policies and procedures are developed through an equity lens, and so people are experiencing the right kind of company culture? Doing a lot of work as it relates to like diversity, equity, and inclusion, of course. I shouldn't say of course, it's certainly not a given that everybody Black has any kind of expertise in that space, but for me, I've developed that. And then also within the leadership capacity building space. So that's my work. And now, my background is in that space. And what it's led to now is running my own firm where myself and my partners, we're doing a lot of cool stuff, helping organizations and individuals see themselves through a lens of purpose.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. And I always really respond well to positivity and encouragement. And
Hmm.
so the fact that that's like your everyday job is amazing. And knowing you are the person that like, you have all that vibe and that energy. That's what you have. So that's amazing.
I try, man. The one thing, and I would tell anyone who's listening right now, is don't be fooled by anything that comes easy to you. And what I mean by that is, let me say it more clearly. Sometimes we're fooled into thinking the things that come easiest to us are things that we should discount or discredit, and we don't take them seriously enough to consider that we should offer them more regularly to other people. The gift that you often have, it's packaged in a way that is easy for you to do. But that also means that you should be giving it to other people as often as possible. So for me, my spirit of optimism and natural positivity is something that I've been in different rooms and scenarios where people have been like, oh, well, that's just easy for you to do. It is. And it's also a reminder that, oh, that's why I should be doing it more often, as many places as I can, because it is a natural gift. And so I'm called to give it.
Right. That's
Yeah.
a huge gem right there. And such a good point because I have felt that too. Sometimes if it's
Yeah.
something, if everything falls into place, I'm like, okay, this is something I'm supposed to be doing. But,
Hmm.
and it's like it becomes easy. Sometimes we take it for granted. Sometimes it's like, oh, I do that easily, whatever. But
Yeah, and I shouldn't charge for that. Oh, yes, you should, especially if you're an entrepreneur. Just because it's easy doesn't mean that it's not work. It's work for a lot of other people, but it also could be work for you, but you've just mastered it or have developed natural skill and talent around it to where it doesn't require as much effort. But doesn't mean you shouldn't be getting paid for
that's
it.
a whole nother conversation. Just like
It is.
knowing and charging your worth. We don't have, we can do that later.
We can, and I will gladly talk about that any day, all day.
I struggle with that myself. And anyways, we'll move on.
Okay, we're gonna talk about that one on one, Nick. I got you. I got you.
Thank
Yes.
you. um, so I know that the big thing we have coming up is
Yes.
Of Purpose, National Day of Purpose on Saturday. Yes.
I
Yeah.
can't believe it. It's already here. I'm like, the International Day of Purpose is so amazing. And this is the fifth year that it has happened where we have billions of people around the world pausing to think about what does it mean to really live on purpose?
Yeah.
And it happens every year on the solstice, which what I've always said, what better day. And when I founded it, it happened on the solstice because I thought, wow, the longest day of the year, the most sunshine, a chance for you to do all the things that you thought you couldn't do before, all the things that you've been exploring with purpose and intention. Now is that day. So
Right.
the Day of Purpose was created with that in mind for people to really to grapple with that question. What would it look like if I was living my life not by accident, not just kind of happenstance, but with intention and purpose?
Wow. Was there something that
Yeah.
inspired you to say like, no, we need a day, or did it just kind of like you had this epiphany at that?
Yeah. I had dinner with one of my big sisters, Tybo Shop, and I shout Ty out about this all the time because she really held me to it. I was telling her that I had just been having this feeling. And I honestly, in my work at the time when I was doing recruitment work, part of what made me different as a recruiter was I didn't care, frankly, so much about like trying to fill all the open roles that I had and that I knew needed to be done. What's up, Fashion Bomb Daily? And if Claire's behind that, hey, Claire. But what really got me going was I knew when I would talk to people who were trying to find jobs, I was always talking to them about like, well, what is it about this job? What is it that you really want to bring to it? What are your skills, gifts, resources? What's your purpose in all of this? And that was a distinguishing factor. And I kept seeing this trend of people not finding meaning in their work, people not finding meaning in how they're spending their time. And I just kept thinking, golly, there are so many of us who are wrestling with feeling less than who we are and are wrestling with feeling lost in our day-to-day experiences because we're just doing things that other people have told us to do, or we're going with a routine that has been previously established that frankly no longer works with our current reality.
Yeah.
And I had my own experience of feeling really lost and like I was kind of doing things for other people and not really tapping into my own personal why. What's up, Wad? And so the day came from that. I'm sitting with Ty. Hey, Erica. I can't help but shout people out as they come in. I think people, yeah, it's like, hey, everybody. But so, yeah, I'm telling everybody just coming in, I'm telling people about how the Day of Purpose got started. So, Nikki, I was sitting with Ty and we were at a dinner downtown in New York in Tribeca. I think it was almost a snowstorm. And I was like, yo, I just am overwhelmed. I keep feeling like there's something burdened on my heart around helping people to return to who they are, to find a sense of purpose in themselves. And I just kept being like, what if everybody was thinking about purpose on the same day? Like, oh my God, Ty, what would look differently? You know, all this stuff. And she was like, there needs to be a day. Where is there a day already? And I was like, and y'all know listening. And Nikki, you know this. You know when something just gets posited in your spirit and you're like, oh, this is about to be crazy. Like, and that's really how I felt. It was like my hands started tingling. I could not type fast enough. I was checking all the GoDaddies. I was like researching. And Ty, yes, Nick, it was crazy. And let me tell you all about accountability. The idea and the energy was hot, right? And of course, this is what happens when you shift to a new space, physically into a new room. Sometimes the energy that you had at that one place can kind of dissipate, which is why accountability is so key.
Yeah.
Accountability, I always say, is the undercurrent to new changes in life. Like you absolutely have to have people to hold you accountable to the change you want to see happen. So Ty wouldn't let me go. She called me that night. She checked on me tomorrow. She was like, did you buy the domain? Have you registered it? Have you done whatever you needed to do to make sure the Day of Purpose comes to life and that it is an international thing? And so with her support, and then, you know, I began to pray about it. It just took off.
Amazing.
Yeah, dude. Mm-hmm.
But that's so true. The accountability part. And I think even myself, I'm like, I got it. Like, I don't need anyone to keep me accountable, whatever. And I know when they reach out to me, I know what they're going to reach out to me for. So it's fine.
Mm-mm. Yeah. No, we have to have accountability. And what I would offer to anyone listening right now is think about right now in your life, what is something that you've said verbally you're ready to commit to?
Mhm.
And who have you shared it with? And I'll just say right now, if there's been no one that you shared it with, it's likely the reason why you haven't made as much change as you've wanted to in that one area. Because accountability, again, it's the undercurrent to real lasting change. You've got to have people who will check in, lovingly hold you accountable, reflect back what you can't see in yourself, and remind you of what you said you wanted to do. You got to have it.
That's so good.
It's true. You know, it's true. You talk about you want to be healthier, you want to be more well. Okay, well, who knows your goals or specific areas in that development? You want a new job? Well, who are you telling that to? Who's checking on your resume? Like I always say, you can't be your best self by yourself, and you have to find someone who's going to support you.
Yep. Okay. Great question, actually, Fashion Bomb Daily. How do you deal with?
Ooh. Yeah, I don't. I'm gonna say that right there. I do not deal with dream killers. The moment I could sense somebody who's in my space who actually, let me rewind. Let me tell you the real deal.
Okay.
Real talk. Coming close. Listen to this. Not everyone deserves access to your dreams.
Ooh.
That part. Not everyone deserves access to your dreams. And so part of what's necessary for many of us is that we've got to be a bit more discerning around who we're telling what to and in what season. There are certain people who can hold space for your big dreams. They can hold space for your new ideas. They can hold space for you developing and growing. And then there are other people who can't. They appreciate you in the limited box that they've experienced you in. And the moment that you go outside of that, it's uncomfortable for them for whatever reason. You can
So
pass judgment or you can hold it. But the truth is, you, the person who's been given the gift from your creator and the dream, you have to be responsible for it. So that means knowing who to share it with, how to pray over it, where you're putting it, like who you're putting it around, all of that. So if we watch Insecure, you take Molly and Issa, for example. Molly really wasn't with Issa developing in the way that she was. It was like she couldn't handle the block party Issa. She could
right,
handle the I got y'all Issa,
right.
but she couldn't handle the block party one.
But
Exactly. Yeah. So that's one part of the dream killer piece. And then second thing I would just say is, you know, if you find out, wow, the person that I did trust with the dream all of a sudden can't handle it anymore, you slowly stopped sharing that information. And if it's worth it, depending on the relationship you've had, you call them out on it, or you don't have to, and then you just stop talking to them about it. Frankly, that's what I would do.
Act accordingly. Their actions accordingly.
Act accordingly. Yep.
Um,
Yep.
Elfie said, guard your sanity, protect your happiness.
Yes, that's so key.
Yeah.
I'm like, you are responsible for owning how you feel on any given day. You can't always control what happens to you, but you can control how you react to it, right? And so it's important that you decide for yourself, wow, you know what? I'm not going to snap back on this. Or I could recognize you're trying to kill my dream. Instead of expending the energy to have a conversation with you about it, I'm going to spend that energy brainstorming my next step.
So good.
You know?
I had a Plan in the Bible app that was like on dreams, and so much of what
Yeah.
talked about, like, everyone doesn't deserve it, everyone won't understand it, everyone won't believe in it, but
Yeah.
you have to believe in yourself. Like, God has
Yep.
given
Yep.
you through it.
That's it. That's true.
What are some of like the biggest challenges you've had as you developed Day of Purpose?
Oh gosh. One of the biggest challenges I've had with developing Day of Purpose is in getting consistent funding. I mean, we've done pretty, I look back now and I guess I should really be proud about this. We've hosted a summit. We've had some really incredible partners. We partnered with the Obama administration in our first year. We've partnered with Kind Snacks, with the YWCA. I mean, just lots of really awesome people. But yet always securing the amount of funds that I think would align with the big vision that I see. It's a hustle. It's a hustle. I didn't share this before, but part of my career also was in fundraising before. And so I know that grind, and it's not easy. It is not easy. So, that's been a struggle, just staying committed. But there's a lesson in here I've learned too, and that is the yes will come. The yes will come. But it's about being consistent with asking and being bold enough to ask. And during fundraising, one of the lessons you learn is not being so attached to the outcome, but you've got to stay committed to the values that are driving you to the ask in the first place. And then you'll end up talking to the right people who are aligned in values with what you're trying to do.
Yeah, that's so true. But this year, 2020, 5th year?
Yes, it's the 5th year.
So what do we have in store for this year?
Yes, so Day of Purpose this year, the International Day of Purpose 2020 has a theme. Yes, on Saturday, June 20th, is the International Day of Purpose. And the theme for this year is, what is your purposeful protest? Caring for yourself on the path to collective liberation. That is what this is about. We will not take for granted the moment that we are in, as I've been calling it, a reckoning, specifically around race in America, but I would also say more globally, there is a reckoning that's happening right now. And to be very candid, as a cisgendered Black woman who does a lot of work in the D&I space, so that's diversity, equity, and inclusion space, I am constantly thinking about what does it mean to create a movement that is equitable and that centers people first and that honors the social identities that many of us have in so many different ways. Or I shouldn't say many of us, that we all have, but that show up in different ways. So our gender, our religion, our sex, our race, of course. I mean, there's just so many different identities that we hold. But at the core, what I deeply believe is that every person has a purpose. And that purpose could take shape in many different ways and at different assignments at different times in your life. But I believe purpose is multifaceted. And so in this season, as we are reckoning with what does it mean to really honor the humanity in all people, and specifically in Black people, that here in America, we have not been given the opportunity to be seen, heard, and valued for who we are. I want everyone to think about, what is your purposeful protest? Because I believe if you center your protest and purpose, there's a way that you do it that allows you to be operating with clarity, conviction, and confidence. And so the protest isn't just a season of life, but you recognize that your own existence could very well be a protest to the oppression that exists for many of us. And so I want you to think about, What skills, what resources, what tools, and what gifts do you have at your fingertips
Mhm.
that you should be offering daily as a mechanism of protest against white supremacy in our world? So you, Nikki, I'm thinking about, you are a photographer,
Yes.
right? You're creative. You've got an incredible eye. The things that you can see in people. I mean, listen, you and I have done a photo shoot together, and I was like, yo, you saw the best in me, right? Like, so your ability to see people through that lens and in the many other ways that you show up as a creative, I wonder, what would it look like for you to offer that as a mechanism of protest?
Yeah.
Because you can already lean into that skill in a way,
So
right?
say that because I think about a week ago I launched this. I guess it's a campaign, a photo campaign called
Yep.
Celebrate Black, hashtag Celebrate Black or
Yep.
Celebrate Okay. And the whole point, again, like acknowledging the moment is like, I feel like my brand of photography is optimistic and positive, and
It is.
so this campaign focuses on that type of energy for the Black experience in America and Black.
Yep.
And I think it's showing
Yep.
an aspect than a lot of times is seen in the media.
Yep.
Um, now that we're talking about this, I'm like, man, is that part of my purposeful protest? Like, that's
I think so. Hello, I think so. What's up, Scoop, by the way? That's it. Like, I would encourage you to think about, like, well, what was the engine that really started that for me? Like, why did I create that? What was my purpose in creating that? What am I trying to communicate and get across?
write these things.
Um, Shoot, go right on ahead. What's up, Wad? But that's it. Like, everybody has an opportunity to really be more purposeful in how they're showing up daily. But I would just urge people to do it right now. And so the day purpose, like our theme this year, yeah, again, is what is your purposeful protest?
Hmm.
And think about your skills, your resources, your tools, your gifts. What access do you have in this world that you could then offer back in service to creating more equity and justice for us, for
Yeah,
people of color, specifically Black people right now? So
yeah.
that's what it looks like. That's the theme.
Yes. What's up, Alzo? How are you doing? So Glenn just says this.
Jeff!
I am struggling with figuring out what gift I can. And that's what I was gonna ask. Like, how do
Yeah,
people
yeah.
out if it's not as easy, if it's not your passion job,
Go.
figure out what might be.
Yeah. How do you figure out what your gifts, what gifts to use? So one thing I would encourage you to think about is the fact that there's no one right answer and that you can constantly evolve in this. Period. Constantly evolve in it. Part of what happens to some of us is we see images of protests show up in very specific ways, perhaps stereotypical to some or more common, like a common schema for what protest looks like. And we think if we don't fit that, well, then there's no way that my gift is applicable. But what I'm telling you to consider is that anything that you can offer in service to other people that aligns with a natural gift of yours, with a skill that's already been proven that you have, with access that you know that you already have available, that within itself should be something to examine. So if you're really good at having difficult conversations with people, could you teach other people to do that? Could you have one publicly and then help people to understand what it was that you did to make that conversation a success? Oh, maybe you're a project manager. Could you offer those services to the movement in some way? If you are really funny, like Zoe here, could you offer a night of comedy relief? Because Lord knows that many of us, specifically us who are targeted by white supremacy, we need to remember our joy right now. Like, I know part of what my purposeful protest is, right? It's heavy. Part of my purposeful protest is showing people what it looks like to be joyful in the midst of strife. Like, if I can do it with authenticity and with honesty, I want to show people and remind people to tap into that. Because what's true is I know white people who believe in white supremacy don't want me to be joyful. They
Yeah,
don't want me to own my power. They don't want me to see myself and remember that I'm valuable, that I am worthy of everything that my creator called me into. They don't want that. And
right.
so operating in direct opposition of that is a protest within itself. So I want to tell every Black person specifically listening right now, you operating with joy, with clarity, with not feeling fatigue on any given day, that is powerful. Communicate that.
Yes, that's so good. And this is so good because I feel like prior to deciding on this Celebrate Black campaign I started, I was
Yeah,
in the,
yeah.
I was like, what is an authentic way to me to protest or to effort? Like, I I'm very worried with Corona. Like, I feel like I would have a lot of anxiety if I'm out there physically protesting, but I support
Right.
if finances
Yep.
not looking great right now, what's another way I can do it? So this conversation is so important, like
Yep.
authentic to yourself and just your gifts.
That's it. You said it. What's authentic to yourself? What's up, Tanisha? I mean, like all of you listening, there's something unique within inside of you that only you can do. And
yeah.
perhaps someone else can do it in a similar way, but they can't really do it with your sauce. Like
Mm-hmm.
we've all got something unique that's been programmed in our DNA.
So true.
Take some time to reflect on that. Like, what am I being called into right now? What should I be offering to other people? Miriam Wright Edelman has always said, service is the rent we pay for living. And
Mm.
while you are still living, there is a reason that you're called into serving other people. That is what's, I mean, that's just what's clear. And now more than ever, we all got to think about how can we be in service to a larger movement that's going to get people free. I mean,
Mm.
that's where my head is. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm going to serve my people. And part of how I'm going to do that will be honoring my family right now, my Black family. Like, I'm doubling down, making sure that we're creating generational wealth and wholeness and wellness within ourselves. And we can show other people what it looks and feels like. So on the days when they forget, just like we forget, we can look at each other and be like, oh, yeah, right. I'm
Yeah.
worthy of that. I can get that. What resources are you using to keep your family whole this week? Oh, you're reading this book around little Black leaders? Great. Or you're tapping into this podcast? Cool. Like, that's the kind of thing I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's awesome. So
Yeah,
moving
yeah.
towards Saturday, so are we thinking like now we already need to be like thinking about what is our purposeful protest, and then on Saturday
Yeah.
post about it, we share, we launch it, is what sort of the steps from Tuesday through Saturday and
I
beyond?
love it. I love it. Let's get down to the brass tacks.
Yes.
So the cool thing about Day of Purpose is I know that it hits people in different ways, right? And so for some people, they've always thought, okay, on that day, that is the day I'm going to set aside to engage on purpose. Like I'm going to get to action then, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the big idea I've been leading up to, I'm going to launch it. Awesome. For other people, they use that day to reflect on purpose. Like that is the day they quiet all the noise. They use some of our reflection guides as a way to kind of usher in some new thinking and get some new ideas out. Any of those things in between you could do. What I would tell people right now who are listening, you get it already. You're hearing this from me, and so you're getting charged up. I would love for you to spend between now and Saturday thinking about what your purposeful protest is. And that way, when you see the social media campaign that gives you an opportunity to share and put voice and name to your work, you can do so. Because there will be a campaign that we hope goes viral, as it tends to every year, where people can share, okay, this is who I am. This is what our purposeful protest looks like to me. And I'm tagging some other people to get involved as well. That's what we want.
That's amazing. Now, you
Yes,
mentioned
ma'am.
I'll find the guides.
Yeah, the reflection guide. You can go to dayofpurpose.org, and we are literally about to drop it. So go ahead and sign up, and then you'll get it, and it's going to be great.
First to get this.
Yes. Boo, 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 boo. Or shout out to Hey Fern Hey. Pew, 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 pew. But you're about to get the guide that's coming, so you can tap in, think about your year, think about what your impact would be, right now in the season of life. So yeah, dayofpurpose.org. And if you're not already, make sure you're following Day of Purpose on Instagram, because everything that's happening this year will be all online. And so we're looking forward to seeing you. Oh, somebody's already subscribed. That's what I'm talking about. Come on. I just got an alert. Subscribe, stay up to date. Yeah, but definitely follow us on IG, because honestly, that's where we've needed to be focusing more anyway. And so we're trying to get our numbers up, want to make sure our community is really engaged. And I'll be doing some live talks with some really awesome people on Day of Purpose.
Okay. Tune in.
I'm not going to tell you, but just know y'all going to be like, oh, snap. Yeah, so make sure you're in for that combo.
Oh, dope. Okay, well, I know
Yes.
time. So I'm going to give you two. You can decide which way you want to go. So one is general, like words of wisdom, advice. You've given so much already.
Okay.
But also, I know you were recently a part of Share the Mic Now.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to find out a little more about that experience. So
I will tell you.
Okay.
Let's do that. Yeah. So Share the Mic Now was just an incredible and historic day and campaign where it was a little bit over 50 of us Black women who were in partnership with about 50 or so white women. And the Black women who were a part of the campaign, we took over the white women's platforms. And so, I mean, there were all kinds of just incredible leaders and voices and thinkers and activists and just everyday folks like myself who were involved. And so I partnered with Mandy Moore. I am. But we all are. Shoot. Right, John Legend? Ordinary people. So I partnered with Mandy Moore, and I just really admire her, love her. She's just incredible. And we've definitely been building a wonderful friendship. And I took her platform over and talked about the purposeful protest and the work that I do. And I think the biggest thing to me, what became clear that I should share in my authenticity was like, what does joy look like for a Black woman right now? And that's what I was offering to that audience. And, but there were lots of different women, my great friends who were part of this, Alencia Johnson, shout out to Lovey and to Bozema and to Glennon and to Stacy, who were the masterminds behind all of this. But, we had everyone from Julia Roberts to Deborah Messing to Hillary Clinton ended up being part of it, Megan Rapinoe, and then, of course, amazing Black women, like I was saying, Lovey, Bose, Alencia, Rachel Cargill. Shoot, I can run on the list. It was
Every
Kwana
time
Barfield. It was bomb.
it was so
Yes.
so good.
It was so, so good. A lot of our sorors. I mean, it was just great. Brene Brown. Oh, who I love. So, yeah, for people who want to know more about that, shout out. Come on, Elephant. I'd oop right now. My voice is. So anyway, I would say go to Share the Mic on Instagram or check out the hashtag Share the Mic now, and you'll see lots of content that's still out there, and you can learn from a lot of incredible Black women who took the time to really, share our voices and our perspectives.
Awesome. Actually, MJ said that's how she found you through your
Oh, cool.
What you had to
I love it.
say truly resonated.
I'm glad. That is wonderful. And it's wonderful. Let me leave actually your audience with this, because one of the things that I believe resonated deeply with her audience, and actually I saw from Mandy herself, was I was inviting people to an exercise where you're thinking about, okay, what could be my purposeful protest? Mm-hmm. Sometimes we got to go back to self to hear, who are we really, especially in times of chaos? So I invite you as a person right now in your grown age to think back to when you were younger, 4, 5, 6, whenever you recognize you were most free, you weren't socialized through the lens of race or gender, and you had the biggest imagination and the deepest sense of possibility in humanity. And I want you to write a letter to that self and tell that self who you are in this moment. Tell yourself then, okay, like if you were a person of color and specifically Black folks, I'd love for you to write a letter to your younger self talking about what you're doing to purposely protest in the form of protecting your joy. How are you still protecting that younger person? Right. If you're a white person or a co-conspirator in the fight for Black lives, I want you to write a letter telling your younger self who you're committing to be. How are you operating with a sense of possibility that drives towards equity and justice for all people? Like, what will your younger self need to hear? How would they want to be proud? What is that? And that's who I want you to make the commitment to first before you're making a commitment to anybody else. Wow. And we got a template for that. Go to dayofpurpose.org or go to jovianzayne.com and you'll see a template.
Awesome. So thank you. This has been amazing. And I've gotten a lot out of it. I know people have said this is exactly what they needed right now. And I agree.
I'm glad.
Thank you so much for just sharing your positivity, your energy, your time.
You're welcome. You're so welcome, sis. It has totally been my pleasure to do so. I see a younger question.
Okay, more question.
And I got 50 seconds. Hi, Keisha. I was on her podcast. It's really great. I have to circle back to that. Can you explain what people mean when they say they're talking to their younger self? What's the thought behind it? Well, I don't know if you caught this part, but the younger self, before we've been socialized through a lens of race specifically, or even gender or other social identities that are, as we operate in our world now, let me teach for a second. Social identities are our identities that are used in our context, in our world, to confer privileges or disadvantages. So, race, gender, socioeconomic status, your class, your religious identity, all of that. That is a part of how you're socialized in our world. That's different from your personal identities. So, Nikki, you and I are deltas. That's a part of our personal identity. A runner, I'm a runner, personal identity. That isn't used in our world to confer privileges or rights
Right.
broadly, right? So when I say your younger self before you were socialized through the lens of your social identity, think back to when you could imagine and remember yourself thinking with the most possibility and you had the most hope. You were feeling really just free. When you saw another human, you weren't thinking about them as being less than to you or that they don't deserve something. Sure, maybe it's like they don't deserve a cookie because I want the cookie just because you're a little kid who wanted cookies, but not because they looked a certain way or they believed a certain thing, right? So, talking to your younger self when you were encapsulating likely the most positivity, you had the most hope and belief, that is a great opportunity for you to go back and talk to who that person was and get some juice from them. Remember what they were telling you about what you should believe in the world, the joy you should operate from. That is a really great reservoir to tap into when you're trying to think now as an older person. Well, who do I need to be? Who am I responsible to be in the world?
Awesome. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Real quick, Glamour just said, is the template the fit, love, work, reflection questions? Is that it?
So no, that's not. I'm glad you saw that. That's a guide.
Yeah.
So on my back, someone on my team on my back end just dropped it. That's great. That's a guide you could use for as you think about the impact you want to have and your purposeful protests for this year. So use all those questions to think about yourself, the impact you want to have, like I was saying. The guide for the question, or excuse me, for the letter is coming. So stay tuned. If you go to, but I actually know it's up right now. If you go to jovianzayne.com and the On Purpose page, you'll see the template there. But you'll also get links to that on the Day of Purpose IG coming up.
Awesome. Well, make sure you
Yeah.
follow Purpose on IG. Follow Day of Purpose is Saturday. Summer's
Yes.
the longest day of the year. The day
Yep.
to make the time to do all of these things on purpose on Saturday.
That's right. That's
But
right.
watch social media for the campaign that's dropping. So we'll see you in you said you have chats coming up on Saturday. Saturday's about to be popping. Just saying.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. See
Thank
y'all.
you. And
Thank
bye.
you, Nikki. Bye, everybody. Have a great day.
Yes, enjoy, guys. Bye.